Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Chilton and Stacy Spivey.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to all of you watching the 4 to 5 right here on WFMY News 2. People are also watching on Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
Yeah, don't forget, if you're watching us on Facebook, be sure to give us a comment there. Let us know what's going on. We'll chat with you during the breaks.
We want to start with some breaking news involving the Greensboro Police Department. The Guilford County District Attorney says a police officer was indicted today on manslaughter charge. A grand jury charged Officer Matthew Edward Hamilton in the shooting death of 29-year-old Joseph Thomas Lee Lopez. Greensboro police initially said an officer shot and killed Lopez while they were responding to a wanted person call on Cloverdale Drive last November. Greensboro Police Department has not released a comment at this time following the news of today's indictment. We will continue to follow up on this story.
Now let's get to some developing news on a recent drowning in Stokes County. Today, family confirmed the identity of the teenager who drowned in Belews Lake. They say 15-year-old Elijah Wyatt was out in the water last Wednesday when he disappeared. Hours later, a search team found his body. NC Wildlife says the boy was swimming without a life jacket when he drowned. His mother tells us he was a freshman at R.J. Reynolds High School. The family is holding a viewing tomorrow at Hayworth Miller Funeral Homes in Winston-Salem. His funeral is set for Wednesday.
Next year it was ROTC, piano. Those are the two main things he wanted to do. But he had talked to Mr. Greer from Reynolds this year, and he had helped him get on that path because he told him, he was like, I want to be in the Navy, and he got him on that path.
Just heartbreaking. Wyatt's family is holding a viewing tomorrow, like we said, at that funeral home in Winston-Salem.
Right now, the fight against COVID-19 is ramping up in the Triad. The CDC updated COVID spread maps, and now several counties, including Forsyth and Alamance, are now classified as high risk. High risk means the rate of spread is elevated and specific groups should take extra precautions. The CDC calculates risk by the number of cases, hospital admissions, and hospital beds. Winston-Salem Mayor Alan Joines is pushing people to make the best personal decision in response to rising cases in Forsyth County.
Again, I would just encourage individuals to make good decisions. And I'm starting to wear my mask again inside, in particular in close settings. And I would just encourage people to do that for the near future.
In Guilford County, the COVID spread is in the medium risk category. This means experts do recommend people with high risk of severe complications mask up in public. Tomorrow, Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughn plans to discuss booster shots and the importance of staying safe.
Developing now, community safety takes center stage amid another weekend of violent crimes. Just this morning, Greensboro police responded to 2 shootings and 1 stabbing, all within hours of another. Triad leaders are encouraging everyone of all levels to help combat violence. They say it's not just an issue that can be resolved at the top.
Violence is not new to our community. Growing up here, I've heard those in power talk about crime and violence for a very long time. However, it's very rare that anything ever gets done about it.
And I think the bottom line is that we need everybody at the table on this. It's too serious. You know, I'm a young grandfather of 13 grandchildren.
Families impacted by crime are often in need of emotional support. The Center for Youth, Family, and Community Partnerships at UNCG builds relationships between the university and the community to address issues that impact the well-being of adults and children. Some of these areas include mental and behavioral health, as well as violence and abuse trauma.
And so obviously some families are directly impacted by the violence and abuse and trauma. And then for others, it's more a matter of talking with children about what they're seeing in the media or what they might be hearing in school or hearing their parents or neighbors talking about.
Murray says the center has several programs that address different forms of trauma and abuse. This includes its Healthy Relationships initiative. The program promotes happy, healthy, and safe relationships through education and outreach.
So I just definitely encourage people in the community, if you're struggling with how to talk about these, either within your own family or with other adults or even with the children in your life, to reach out for that support, because these are not easy times that we're in. There's very difficult issues that families are facing right now, but families do not have to walk through them alone.
For a list of programs and resources offered by the center, look for this story on our website.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, North Carolina Democrats are working on a new way to bring relief to rising gas prices. They are proposing a $200 tax rebate for North Carolina drivers. Anyone 18 and older who has a valid North Carolina driver's license would get the money. Republican leaders in the General Assembly are also looking at tax relief. They say they'll consider rebates but prefer more permanent tax reductions. Right now, rising costs are making it difficult for current and future homeowners, but there is help out there. North Carolina Homeowner Assistance Fund offers mortgage help and buyer advice. They also held a pop-up event today at the Women's Resource Center. There, they helped people fill out financial assistance applications and offered on-site guidance. If you're in need of any of those services, call 1-855-696-2423. The nation's largest baby formula producer is now running full steam again. Abbott Nutrition says its Michigan factory will ramp production while meeting requirements set by the FDA. The factory shut down for 4 months following a recall after 4 babies who drank formula from the plant developed bacterial infections. 2 of them died. The shutdown largely contributed to a nationwide baby formula shortage. It will take about 3 weeks for consumers to see baby formula from the Michigan plant back on store shelves.
You know, a decent week for us on the horizon as we look to the skies today. Pretty comfortable, some low 80s. That's what we expected to see. 80 degrees at the airport in Greensboro, Burlington 82, High Point 83, Winston-Salem 81, Walnut Cove at 83, and we have Reedsville at 81 as well, along with Martinsville. Looking at this, the readings for tonight, mostly clear. It will start to get humid though. We'll see the humidity levels go on the increase today. Not the case. It was nice out there. 61 will be that overnight low. That's very mild for this time of the year. 83, you see that high for tomorrow. Partly cloudy. Clouds will start to build in a little bit. We do have an isolated chance of a late day shower or storm. We're kind of getting into that summertime pattern where almost every day on the 7-day you see at least a 20% chance of that. Nothing really happening right now. I had a couple of sprinkles in the mountain communities. You can see we're kind of in this pocket right here where not a lot of weather is happening. That will change. Here's a cold front back to our west. We see some severe thunderstorm warnings in parts of southern Tennessee, but that is heading in our direction and will bring our rain chances back up again too as we head into the next day or so, as we see that 20% going up to more of a 30% or thereabouts. High pressure in control for now. That moves on off to the east. That means our winds coming in out of the southeast. That is a very humid flow pulling that moisture off the ocean there and then bringing it back inland. Then the approach of this cold front, so that will all converge over us, bringing our rain chances up for the next couple of days. You can see some of that developing there in our futurecast radar. Look at the 7-day outlook, and as we look long range, we've got that 20% chance tomorrow. That's not that bad. 83 will build with that southeastern flow with the winds we talked about. 85 with a 40% chance of rain Wednesday. Keep that 40 into Thursday. Bring temperatures up. Hottest of the week at 87 for Thursday. Friday, mainly dry, we'll say. 86 degrees and a nice weekend there with just only a few thunderstorms possible Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Again, kind of a summertime outlook, but cooler. Low 80s Saturday, Sunday. Mid 80s, mostly dry by Monday.
Today marks 78 years since Allied troops faced off against Nazi Germans in Normandy, France. Now called D-Day, the mission claimed the lives of more than 2,000 Americans. Not only was it a pivotal point for World War II, historians say it's one of our nation's greatest military achievements. Find out why next. 78 years ago today, Allied troops braved terrible weather conditions to confront Nazi Germans on the coast of Normandy, France.
The mission, later dubbed D-Day, was a major turning point in World War II. But did you know historians say it is one of our nation's greatest military achievements? Here's why.
Historians regard D-Day among the greatest military achievements ever. Let's connect the dots. After nearly 5 years of war, most of Western Europe was occupied by German troops or fascist governments. U.S. and British leaders took years to plan the massive invasion of mainland Europe in hopes of toppling Hitler's regime. It combined over 156,000 U.S., British, and Canadian troops, along with nearly 7,000 ships to pull it off. The goal? To trick the Nazis into thinking the invasion would take place at a different part of the French coast. Troops and supplies were in place by May, but bad weather delayed the launch by a month. All 5 beaches were secure within 5 days of the invasion, which helped bring 2.5 million troops and 4 million tons of supplies. The massive influx of troops marked a decisive turning point in the war, and Germany surrendered less than a year later. And that is connecting the dots.
You know, my father served in World War II, and he would talk a lot about this event. He was not there, but he would talk a lot about it. And I was reading something about it today because I never understood why they called it D-Day. And so I looked this up. The only thing I can help you to understand it by is it's a military term, and D means the day that something is going to happen. So if it were 3 days ahead of time, they would say D-3, so 3 days until the conflict. Or if it's 2 days after, it'd be D+2. It's like when NASA does a launch, and they'll say T-3 minutes. That's time minus 3 minutes. So that's why they named it that. But this is a day of remembrance for a lot of folks. That was, I interviewed somebody who paratrooped in Normandy once, and he said it's the saddest and the greatest achievement in this all in one event.
And you know, when we talk about it being one of the greatest military achievements, do you feel that we shed light on that as much as we should?
I don't think so, because I knew, I mean, I've read over the years of what a great achievement it was, but the number of lives lost and the way those guys, if you ever watched the beginning of like Saving Private Ryan and how they show what that looked like, back then when that movie came out, a lot of World War II vets that were there said that's exactly what it's like. So if you ever want to see what these guys had to go through, you watch that movie. It was an amazing, they were brave, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, when we think about today this happened 78 years ago, it's crazy to me to think that there is a war happening right now overseas, and thinking about men are fighting for their own country and willing to sacrifice their life for the greater good. It's heartbreaking to think about.
That's why Tom Brokaw, when he wrote a book on this generation, which we're losing that generation, you know, they're in their 90s and approaching 100 years old, and he called them America's greatest generation because they ran to the war, not running away from it. And it's an amazing
That says a lot about
Yes,
those
it
people.
does. It really does. All right, think about that today, and don't let that memory fade, and we'll take a break, be right back. You know, if you're like me, low 80s, like that, low to mid 80s, about as warm as I ever wanted to get. We have a great week ahead if you like those temperatures. Only one day do we approach within 2 or 3 degrees of 90. So not bad from a temperature standpoint. We've got a little rain that could happen, especially we head into Wednesday evening and into Thursday morning. Talk about that in a minute. 80 degrees right now in the Triad. Charlotte's at 84. If you head east, Fayetteville at 84. Wilmington 83. Hatteras cooled by the water there at 79. Satellite and radar imagery across the region. Not a whole lot to talk about yet. We watch this cold front. This is what we're talking about for maybe that Wednesday rain event. Rain chances go back up. The lower humidity that we had today, we'll say goodbye to, as you're going to feel that start to go on the increase, even into the night tonight as that high moves off the coast. Remember the clockwise flow of winds around a high. So our winds will come in out of the south to southeast. That is a warmer flow and much more muggy. So you bring a lot of that moisture into the atmosphere, then you bring that cold front through. And as we said, this will happen. Now you're looking at Wednesday morning, and then you see Wednesday afternoon. It's really the second part of that cold front. When that gets through Wednesday night into Thursday, we could see some heavier, a little bit greater rain coverage with that, and maybe even some more thunderstorm activity as well. So let's go with fairly dry tomorrow. We'll keep an isolated chance of a shower or storm in, but 83. It's a 40% for Wednesday. Some strong thunderstorms Wednesday evening, possibly into Thursday. 40% both days. Thursday, the warmest day at 87. Friday, mostly dry and 86. Great weekend, just a normal 20 to 30% pop-up late day shower chance or storm chance. Low 80s for Saturday. Sunday, building back to 84 with partly cloudy skies by Monday of next week.
Today, Coach Lamont is challenging us to think about how we care for ourselves. It's important to love on others, but loving on yourself is where it all starts.
As I look over my life, there are things I wish I would have done differently and things I wish I would have never done at all. Can you relate? But what I've also learned is that everything that has happened, it happened for a reason. And the reason, it created a lesson, and the lesson became an experience. Instead of finding any reason to hate your life, find every reason to love it. Maybe it hasn't been easy. Maybe you look at your life and you suggest to yourself, this cannot be the life that I signed up for. Trust me, I get it. But it doesn't have to be the life you settle for. You at any moment can make one decision that changes everything. So step back, look at the good things that have happened, and allow those things to grow stronger in your spirit than the bad things that try to haunt you. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Did you guys check out the U-Day shirt?
I was about to say, before we talk about anything, we have to talk about the U-Day shirt and how do you get one?
Yeah, I did not know that was a thing. I hope he's selling them. He probably would be. I have always been a glass half full guy. You know, I would rather look at the positive side of things than the negative. In fact, my wife says I do that to a detriment to myself because I like to always see the good in people and everything. But I think positive attitude's half of it.
Absolutely. I also think like the positive and the negative, or the mistakes and the triumphs that we've gone through, help to make us who we are today. And we can use some of those negative things or some of those setbacks to just motivate us to launch forward.
I love how he talked about loving yourself and taking care of yourself, because I think a lot of times we focus on the world around us, and I think that in order to care for others, you really do have to take care of yourself, because if your cup is only, you know, halfway full, how are you going to take care of your kids? You're going to run out of steam at some point, right?
That was something I said to Leslie when Tyler was born, and she was working so hard right after, you know, having Tyler. It was a C-section, and so, you know, she has to take it easy, and she was not. And I said, if you don't stop, then nobody can take care of him like you do.
Right, exactly.
You need to take care of yourself first, and I think that's a lesson for everybody.
Yeah, got to do some self-loving care.
Yep.
That's right.
We'll be right back. Guilford County Schools rolled out the royal treatment for their top graduating seniors. The district held a special luncheon celebrating the students and their families.
Several scholars were honored for their high school achievements and their future endeavors. Our very own Tracy McCain emceed the ceremony. The event is also GCS Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras' final celebration with the class of 2022.
Graduation season and college prep is an exciting time, but it's also very expensive. Students work hard to achieve an impressive GPA with the goal of getting into a great college. Then they have to figure out how they're going to pay for it.
For the top students in each high school's graduating class, it usually comes down to scholarships, but it turns out not even straight A's can guarantee you to get a free ride. Stratton Murphy is headed to NC State this fall. He's graduating from the Career and College Promise program at TW Andrews High School, first in his class with a 4.66 weighted GPA. But despite his impressive test scores and achievements, the future lawyer says he wasn't offered any scholarships.
I applied. I did not get a single scholarship. Every single scholarship I applied to, I got very close for a few of them, but I did not get anything in the end.
How is that possible to graduate first in your class?
Yeah, I've been asking that same question.
But for Karen Kahn, things worked out. She is also going to NC State in August, but her bill is covered by the Good Night Scholars Program. It's a university STEM-based scholarship and it's very competitive. However, even though Karen graduated first in her class with a 4.6 from Smith High School, she had her doubts.
I tried to apply for Moorhead and the Park scholarships, and those are very rigorous ones. So I was very scared to get the Good Night one, but luckily I got into it. And honestly, I'm very grateful that I had people helping me.
Both students say the pressure to get into college and then find a way to pay for it, it's unreal.
Yeah, some valedictorians and salutatorians are also getting rejected, which is crazy to think about because colleges are looking for what they're calling the total package. Stratton and Karen both have some advice for the next round of high school seniors. They say hunt for scholarships early and search for them weekly. Scholarship opportunities are announced all the time, but if you only search once, you will end up missing a lot.
They also encourage applying for every scholarship, even if you don't think you qualify, because you have nothing to lose. And you can read more of their stories in our Senior Spotlight, airing Thursday and airing first on the Good Morning Show.
I know a lot of people, when my twins graduated last year, a lot of the students and their parents were saying, we've applied to like 30 different scholarships, even if it's only like $500 or $1,000 here or there. And that's really almost anymore. The big ones are so hard to get that you almost have to kind of bit and piece it together to get a number that matters.
That's what I did when I was in school. I was applying to so many scholarships, whether it was through different fraternities or different sororities that were offering them, just different programs, and those 100, 200, 300, they do start to add up. It could pay for some books, it could pay for your meal plan, you know, just apply.
So it makes me wonder if colleges are wanting someone that's, you know, well-rounded, if they'd rather see a lower GPA with more involvement in different things outside of school, or what they're really looking for. Because I mean, this kid, 4.66, that's really a high GPA.
It's really competitive.
Yeah.
When they say the perfect package, I'm like, so do you want to see more extracurricular activities?
I think so, yeah.
Rather than someone just book smart? Because I guess they want to see you're going to be able to apply that to the real world.
And that you're going to be able to handle college.
That's what they were telling, our guidance counselor was telling us. They said they need to be involved in clubs and maybe a sport or just something. One of them said even just a job through high school shows that you're disciplined, which I wouldn't have thought of that, but that makes a difference as well.
Yeah, it does. It's tough out here, but
it's right. It's true. Got to do it. Got to impress some people here. All right, if someone special in your life is graduating this season, we want you to show them a little bit of love. We make it easy for you. Shout out your senior by texting their name and the school they're graduating from. There's the number for you, 336-379-5775. Also, send us a picture if you can. Just remember, we can't use professional pictures. Just send us those candid shots and check out the pictures that we've already gotten in. We'll take a look at this. Congratulations, graduates. Best of luck from all of us here at WFMY News 2. We'll be back.
Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Eric Chilton and Stacy Spivey.
Yeah, welcome to everyone watching the 4 to 5. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And thank you to all of you watching on Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
Don't forget, if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you give us a shout out in the comments there, and we'll chat with you a little bit during the commercial breaks.
Yeah, lots to talk about, including COVID. Let's get to the fight against COVID-19. It is ramping up here in the Triad. The CDC updated a COVID spread map, and now several counties, including Forsyth and Alamance, are now classified as high risk. High risk means the rate of spread is elevated, and specific groups should take extra precautions. The CDC calculates risk by the number of cases, hospital admissions, and hospital beds. Winston-Salem Mayor Alan Joins is pushing people to make the best personal decision in response to rising cases in Forsyth County. In Guilford County, COVID spread is in the medium risk category. So this means experts do recommend people with high risk or severe complications mask up in public. Tomorrow, Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughn plans to discuss booster shots and the importance of staying safe.
Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Today, family confirmed the identity of the teenager who drowned in Ballew's Lake. They say 15-year-old Elijah Wyatt was out in the water last Wednesday when he disappeared. Hours later, a search team found his body. NC Wildlife says the boy was swimming without a life jacket when he drowned. His mother tells us he was a freshman at R.J. Reynolds High School, and tomorrow the family is holding a viewing at Hayworth Miller Funeral Homes in Winston-Salem. His funeral is set for Wednesday. Well, there's no relief at the pump today as gas prices across the U.S. and in North Carolina continue to climb. The latest Gas Buddy report says prices are up nearly 18.5 cents in Greensboro since last week. That means prices are now averaging about $4.48 per gallon. Right now, North Carolina lawmakers are working on ways to offset pain at the pump. Democrats are proposing a $200 tax rebate for North Carolina drivers. Anyone 18 and older who has a valid North Carolina driver's license would get the money. Republican leaders in the General Assembly are also looking at tax relief. They say they'll consider rebates but prefer more permanent tax reductions.
Well, forecast-wise today, we're looking at good stuff. The low 80s today. Humidity wasn't that bad. Now, that's changing as we head into the night. So we hope you enjoyed today while you can. Winds are going to shift when they come to us out of the southeast. That'll bring in more heat and humidity for us. And we gradually get warmer each day, but it's not up into the 90s. In fact, we don't see a 90 anywhere in the 7-day, but we will gradually add 2 or 3 degrees here or there for the next 2 or 3 days. 80 in the Triad right now. Raleigh's at 82, Norfolk at 74. Let's head down east. Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand at 80, Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach area at 83, and back to the mountains. How comfortable is this? Boone and Asheville 71 and 74. You know, it's a beautiful day in those hills. All right, satellite and radar, not a whole lot to talk about yet. This is the cold front getting closer. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings you can see in parts of southeastern Tennessee. That will get here, but it may take it a couple days to get here because the high pressure kind of blocking all that for now, and it'll bring in that southeasterly flow so that humidity goes up. That means rain chances start to just squeak up a little bit. Maybe tomorrow about a 20% chance. I think the best chance for us will be Wednesday night into Thursday as the cold front trailing to the south of that low, that will reach us by then. Ahead of that, a lot of moisture and humidity, so we'll see those typical pop-up sort of late day showers, we think there. Here's your 7-day outlook. With that 20% tomorrow, that's not all that bad. Then we'll go up to a 40%. Again, that is probably a Wednesday, I would say Wednesday into Thursday situation where we see the rain chances at their highest for the week at a 40%. Temperatures go up as well. 85 for Wednesday, 87. That's the hottest day of the week. That's on Thursday. Friday, rain chances start to get a little slim again. 86. Weekend's beautiful. Low 80s. Just a normal late day pop-up shower storm, very summer-like there, but 82 and 83 for Saturday and Sunday. And by Monday, mostly dry. We'll say sunny to partly cloudy. That's a beautiful day with a high temperature at 84 degrees. Well, you know, it all started with a friendly group of neighbors proud of their historic neighborhood, but now it is an annual festival featuring music, porches, and good food. I spoke with organizers this morning who simply want to celebrate the Dunleith community with a big history. Yep, get a good look at it. This is where you need to be this weekend. Talk about fun. I love this event. Bevan Ham with us, and we've talked about this for 5 years.
Yeah,
now.
5 years now. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how all this got started.
Well, this is Dunleith. We enjoy a good party. And there is nothing better than some wonderful music on porches. And we have done it now for 5 years. We took 1 year off for COVID, like the rest of the world took. But we have got over 40 porches with over 127 different people on it. I think there are about 47 groups that are going to be playing this Saturday, right here in Dunleith.
You know, it makes me think of the Andy Griffith Show when they sit out on the porch and play
Yeah.
music. I mean, that's kind of
like what it is. This porch in back of us is going to have people. The porches all in the neighborhood, over 40 of them.
And it's a historic neighborhood too. I mean, these houses are how old, roughly?
Well, they're between 80 and 100 years old, and we like to show off our houses. We spend a lot of time restoring them, making them look good, and it's kind of fun. That's why we want people to come here. We're going to have food trucks. Gassan's is going to be here. We're going to have rainbow kettle corn and my brother's cookies and Taco Bros food truck.
Which I love.
Oh, they are
Very good.
wonderful, yeah.
You know, this is really about highlighting the community
Yes.
and then music also.
Yeah,
right?
and we started that way. We wanted to show off how wonderful our neighborhood is. And it's on both sides of Summit Avenue. So we have entertainment on both sides of Summit Avenue, on both sides of Yanceyville.
Real quick, how many people do you think will show up? How many in years past and now?
We expect over 1,000.
Wow.
And it's all walking. You know, we really don't have much else. You just come in and walk the neighborhood. We'll have entertainment for the kids. They'll get to make their own little banjo.
Ooh.
And we have just lots of fun in the neighborhood.
Southern hospitality, front porch,
Yes.
and
Yes.
music. That's all you need. Well, and a food truck or two.
Right.
So they've been doing this for 5 years. If you haven't been through that, it is a historic community. Most of the homes are between 80 and 110 years old. They have restored these. They are beautiful. You saw that house that we were
Yeah,
standing
gorgeous.
in front of. Super nice. Lots of history too. That house we were in front of, they said, was built in like 1912-ish, somewhere around there. And they said he was I believe he was an accountant for some of the Cone Mills. So some of the homes have history involved too.
I love this concept. It makes me think of a big block party, just
It
a
is.
huge party for everybody to come on out, listen to some good music, and it's free.
It's free, and they literally, musicians are on front porches, like all over
That
the.
is really,
and
really cool.
Some of the
cool.
people that live in the homes know a musician. They just call them, say, come over. They do it for free. They donate their time, and they have food trucks out there. You can wander the neighborhood from, I believe it's 11 to 5 on Saturday, and it's just going to be a ton.
Is
of
the
fun.
weather going to be great for that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I
That's a
think
low
you said it
80s.
was
That'll
nice.
be beautiful.
Nice. Okay.
I mean, this is just like the epitome of summer, okay? I think when I think of summer, I think of sitting on your front porch, drinking like sweet tea or something and listening to live music. Like this is perfect for that. I am curious, are these artists, I know you said that they picked them, are they just local artists or?
Yeah, I mean local and regional. So at the end of the day, all of this culminates with one big concert at Sternberger Park, which is right in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
And then that concert is the funny name. It's a band. They're called the Headless Chickens. They are out of Raleigh.
What a name.
Yeah, but what they do is so cool. So they all have jobs. They're professionals by day, but they play events where they help raise money for charity. So in this case,
Okay.
it goes to the Dunleith Association to help preserve these old homes. So that group is a story in and of itself because they just travel around and play to help raise money.
Headless chickens?
The Headless Chickens.
I will
check
never
'em out.
forget that. Okay. Well, we have a lot more to come on the 4 to 5. You know the saying, right? Love heals all. Scientists at Wake Forest School of Medicine are studying if that statement is actually true. The research being done on the love hormone and the millions of dollars put into it. Next. You know the saying, love heals all, but scientists are actually studying how the love hormone oxytocin could be a treatment for a variety of things. That study is happening right here in the Triad. The National Institute of Health is granting Wake Forest School of Medicine $9 million to study oxytocin over the next 5 years. It's a study in partnership with Stanford University and also a university in Sweden. Scientists and doctors will be looking into how oxytocin can help treat pain from surgery and trauma, as well as treat central nervous diseases like autism or anxiety. They'll be giving volunteers ages 18 to 75 doses of oxytocin and measuring its effects in the brain.
We're looking at the dose of oxytocin and how the dose of oxytocin determines what's happening in the body, in the peripheral nerves, and in the brain.
So what is oxytocin? Obstetric anesthesiologist Dr. James Eisenach describes it as the love or social hormone. It's the hormone released toward the end of pregnancy that causes labor contractions, triggers milk release for breastfeeding moms, and also helps with mother and baby bonding. He says it's believed to be important in all social interactions. He hopes this study will answer a lot of questions and also lead to new treatments.
It's all about helping to speed recovery after pain, after surgery or after trauma, how to reduce the risk of chronic pain after surgery, and to provide information for people who are studying other diseases like autism, schizophrenia, depression, PTSD, who think that oxytocin might be useful there.
Because oxytocin is a natural hormone, Dr. Eisenach says it would have to be made into some kind of form of medication to eventually be used for treatment. And while he says, we know that oxytocin isn't the answer to everything, he does think that they could find a way that it could help things, make things a little bit better and ease pain or
That's fascinating.
anxiety.
It is really fascinating.
It makes me think of, when you feel love or you feel loved, you do feel like you're filling up in your chest. You know how people say, I feel like my heart is going to explode? Like, it's a physical thing.
And I could see when you talked about anxiety and depression and how that feeling of love could help to ease some of that. Could you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely would help. And he talked about, this is the part I thought was fascinating, and that I don't think is ever mentioned. Women, when they have C-sections, heal much faster than a woman of the same age, same body type, whatever, having a different kind of surgery. They heal much faster than the other women because of the oxytocin levels in their body at that time after having a baby.
And they want to get better to take care of that baby, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
So that's why they're like, okay, can we use that to help in other cases? And that's exactly what they're going to study right here in the Triad.
That is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We'll keep you posted on that. All right, speaking of love and healing abilities, we have some good news for you here. All right, you know that our Julie Luck has been fighting colon cancer, but last month she shared on social media she is in remission. That means no more chemo treatments. She'll still need regular CT scans for the next few years, but she posted on Facebook, quote, "From cancer fighter to cancer survivor, this is the news I've been hoping for. I have so many people to thank for lifting me up during these dark several months. My family, friends, colleagues, viewers, fellow patients, and the many medical experts who provided excellent care. I also praise God for his healing, strength, and grace," end quote. Julie and her infectious smile will be back in this studio. Make sure you watch. She'll be back here on Wednesday.
Okay, it's my turn. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination. All right, so I took this picture this morning as I was ironing this dress. It made me wonder just how many people are ironing on this Monday morning, or at all. So I asked you on Facebook, do you never iron? Do you do it all at once like my parents, or only when you need it? Let's see if we can see that video so that we can show you what everybody said on Facebook. So there's my post there. And so again, I asked you, when do you do it? And they replied, all right, so Debbie says, y'all need to pack those irons up and buy yourself a steamer. Never going back. She even gave us a picture from Amazon. Michelle added, I iron my husband's work shirts on Sunday and mine is needed. Marcia said, never, but growing up, Tuesday was ironing day. Okay, so what do you say, my 4 to 5 friends? Where do you fall on the ironing conversation?
There is only one person in my house that irons, Tanya.
That is your wife.
That's me.
Oh, good job.
Yes.
Okay.
Leslie cannot stand to iron. I don't like it either, but I try to get clothes right out of the dryer.
Yes.
And put them immediately and hang them up so that I don't have to iron that much. But when I do, I'm the only one that irons.
You're the only one
I like
that
it.
irons.
I think it's a sense of accomplishment. It looks great.
It does. You can definitely tell the difference. Okay.
I still iron, mostly iron when needed, but growing up, my mom ironed all my clothes for the week every Sunday.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, nice.
Yep.
Wow,
That's
okay.
how my parents do it.
Yeah,
They
every
watch
Sunday.
something and they iron all of their clothes at one time.
Oh, wow. I steam mostly, but there
Uh-huh.
are some things that, that material, certain material just needs a good iron.
Yeah.
Yes.
And fun fact here, my dad irons his jeans.
He irons his jeans.
Does he put a crease in them, Stace?
Yeah.
He's the starch.
He's just, that is just his personality, the perfectionist, like everything nice and ironed.
Nice and neat.
Eric, I'm just curious, have you never thought about just sending your shirts or whatever to the dry cleaner so you don't have to do that?
I used to do that, but I'm too cheap now.
Okay. All right. These are all good things to know. All right. Technology has made it so ironing is usually less needed, right? Think of all those anti-wrinkle type fabrics. But let me ask you, do you iron other things besides clothes?
Okay, I don't do this regularly, but I have ironed pocket squares before.
Okay.
Oh.
All
'Cause
right.
they get
That makes
all wrinkly.
sense. Sure.
I've steamed like new shower curtains or just curtains in
Okay.
general, but never ironed anything.
So, and I ask
I'm
you this
thinking.
because I know folks who like their sheets ironed,
Oh.
so they're very crisp. Let's press on and get some iron history. See what I did there, friends? Press on.
I liked it.
Okay, anyway, let me tell you about this. This is how ironing looked back in the day. I
I've
can't
seen one
even.
of
You set
those.
this lump of iron on hot coals and then you put it on your clothes. Yes, ironing was an all-day affair. Now, I want to show you this guy right here. He changed all of it. This is Henry Seeley, the New York City inventor, came up with his innovation of the electric iron in 1882. And here's another fun fact for you from homestratosphere.com. You should never use tap water in a steam iron. Instead, you want to use distilled water. The sediment in tap water can clog the iron steam holes, and then you're not going to get the steam that you want, right? All right, one more trick. If you get stains on your iron plate, have you ever seen that? Like your iron plate has like all these like black
and then it starts to bleed onto your clothes.
Yep.
Right. Okay, we can come back here. If you get stains on your iron plate, just use a wet magic eraser when the iron is off.
Okay.
Never heard of that.
Okay.
I've never heard of that. Now, here's the question. Some people iron, if I can't show you this, it's hard. You know how if you take your pants, because ironing pants to me is kind of difficult. If you do it a certain way, you end up with that crease in the front. You know what
Correct.
I'm talking about in the front of the leg.
Yes.
But it's always awkward for me when I lay it flat to not get that crease when I'm trying to get up around pockets. I can't do around the pockets. It always looks horrible.
I think, well, we'll have to have a 101 on this.
I think so too. I
About
think it's
how
the
to do that.
pocket needs to be flat on the inside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I also think that you probably are trying to get all the way too far up and you need to just do the leg part and then you need to put the inside of the pant on the end of the ironing board and then do that.
Yes, okay. So now I have my answer.
Ironing lessons with Tanya.
I know, right? And I'm actually not a very good ironer. I feel like I put more creases in my clothes when I iron them than take out of my clothes.
Yeah.
My mother taught me. She was excellent.
Do you ever have those garments where you just keep trying and trying, but the creases just never
don't come out?
Yeah, I have a
you got to
skirt
use
like
a little
that.
steam and that kind of jazz, right? Has anyone ever ironed with their clothes on?
I know
Ugh.
someone who did that. I have a friend who did that, and she still has a big old scar from doing that.
Oh,
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, sometimes I would put my skirt up there and I would just iron it on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway, all the ironing confessions. We'll see in a bit.
Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hi, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. That was fast.
I'm at the business where Elijah's parents talked to me, and they said this is the place where he enjoys.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents. And you know those life moments that you have every now and again? It's something you never forget, and it really just makes you realize what's important. Well, I had one of those last week. It was my son Tyler's 5th grade graduation ceremony. I didn't know the backstory at the time, so it shocked me when it happened. But what happened at the end was amazing. One of the students is on the spectrum. His name is Jacob. He got up to get his little award for graduating 5th grade. And then after getting his award, he turned to the crowd, walked to the edge of the stage, and he started the SpongeBob SquarePants song. Apparently, he loves this song, and he had this bond with his classmates. I didn't know that the entire 5th grade knows about Jacob and loves him. Their show of love and support was something I'll never forget. Take a look at this moment. And that says it all.